For those who may not have followed the reviews for Kaguya-sama Love is War Season 1, this is my favorite comedy anime of all time. I think it's brilliant, I think the formula is genius, it's so simple on paper, just two brainiacs trying to get the other to admit the love first, so they can wear the pants in the relationship. But it's hilarious, and the more characters that got thrown on screen, the more absurd it became. And this episode went full momentum. We had 4 stories, and they were all memorable. You start off on probably the most explosive bang you could, with lasers, spy, you're seeing our girl basically remove the caffeine from a boy Miyuki's diet so he would pass out. Long elaborate plan, and then basically all it was our girl Kaguya just basking in the head shoulder sleeps. And can't blame her, you can't blame her, it's always adorable to do so. You have, they really pushed the sexual tension in the second story. I was not expecting that. I loved how they all got played, and you can't really tell, are those characters like really close, or were they really just screwing with the student council? You don't know, but it was adorable to see Kaguya just kind of take in what the president was saying, like, oh god, that's gonna be me, and she's super excited but obviously embarrassed. You have a game of life, basically, and just, man, they definitely had some shippers happy in this episode, shipping Kaguya with Chika and things like that. But of course, that was adorable, and then you end on a birthday, and how you would think someone like Miyuki would never get into, like, horoscopes and things like that, but he's super into them, but he's really not happy with their odds, and this show, it can do anything. It really can, and I was actually surprised. I figured the first episode of Season 2, it would be, like, 2 stories. I thought they were just going to really focus in on 2 big comedy stories, and maybe they'll have a little dramatic here or there. But no, they went right back into what made Kaguya-sama great to begin with, just a lot of laughs while seeing the potential of the growing relationships. I mean, you can just take a look at like Chika and Yu. I mean, those 2 characters are just so great together, and you can just tell that they're a lot different than when they started out in the beginning of Season 1 and things like that. You know, like once we got introduced to the entire squad, it felt like we knew what to expect, but just seeing their general banter in this episode, it feels like they definitely have grown close, even if a character like Yu tries to turn away and run away in fear, or just says like, okay, you know, you have a body that's worth slapping. It's like, there is just some dialogue in this show that does not hold back, and that's why it's hilarious. I mean, I honestly was expecting to feel like it's gonna be funny. It's Kaguya-sama. It's gonna make me laugh. I wasn't expecting the amount of content, and I know sometimes the manga fans with Season 1, they were saying sometimes they thought maybe there was a little too much in an episode, and then other times they loved how they paced it. Me, I've always enjoyed the pacing of Kaguya-sama because they never take themselves overly seriously, and when they did get into the more serious, like with the whole fireworks situation, it was nice, slow, it was steady pacing. But you can have rapid fire comedy and have it land every single time, because even if you don't let out a laugh out loud, you're still gonna find it funny, else why are you watching Season 2? Because it's literally the same formula and it's brilliant. I would say out of all of the little jokes and gags, I'd honestly probably say the second one was my favorite. I thought it was hilarious to see someone gloat about their summer vacation and how it just got progressively more and more pissed off as it seemed like Miyuki as well as you were just like, this bastard is playing with us. And then when you see his girl come in, I just love that. It is so innocent, it is so wholesome, but it's also so kinky because you're just seeing like they're going all in, kissing on the neck, and people are like, oh god, what's happening? Is that a second date? Oh no, 4th date. And just the idea of having Kaguya, because she is like the most oblivious to so much romantic stuff, that she's just like, oh, that's gonna be me. She just has no idea the world of love she's going to get into once they eventually cross that barrier and they both just fully admit that they definitely do love each other. But I think introducing the episode with literally explosions and lasers, you're having like literally a wire on fire just burn on the screen as you have Kaguya's girl just like doing the impossible, and then just the whole idea that it's so overly complex just to swap the coffee out so he wouldn't have his caffeine, and then all this was just so he wouldn't wake up so he could continue to sleep on her shoulder. And it is romantic. I mean, anyone in a relationship can agree, like, that shit is adorable and we love it. But I mean, it's understandable why there is some side eyes being like, this wasn't part of the plan and nothing literally changed after everything I just did. Like, she was probably thinking like she'd come in and Kaguya would have won or something like that. No, it was still a win, just in a different one. That's the brilliance of the comedy, because it is so sweet and wholesome. There's a lot of twistiness to it, we can't kid ourselves. But it's so amazing to see just those simple romantic scenes where it's like, yeah, those are lovebirds. That's how they should be. but their pride says otherwise. So it's nice to kind of just appreciate alongside a character like Kaguya, who's just like, this is heaven, we're not going to do anything else. But I have to say, the whole board game that they played, that was something that it felt very reminiscent to a couple of the earlier episodes in the first season of Kaguya-sama, and I love that. Chika is such a fun addition, and just the idea of her bringing a game and just having it almost immediately get shut down to then seeing how, man, I love it. I think this is like a great highlight of why I love Kaguya-sama's comedy. You have Kaguya, who is so envious of basically Chika marrying the person that she loves, right? And she is so just like, she has money, she has everything, she literally has a luxury life, but not the person she loves. Chika is just, she's a troll. She likes to push the button. She likes to push them so eventually they would confront their love, but she also is just very playful. And then you have Miyuki, who is just like, he's nervous as hell. You can tell he's being like, no, I wish I could marry her, but I love how she can't even get married even when she lands on the card because of her own shortcomings. It's like, this show is amazing, and it feels really well produced. Like, I know there's a lot of talk about will Kaguya-sama get to finish in this season because of the whole Corona situation. All I know is the episodes that they've clearly already finished are looking perfect. I mean, I was actually surprised by the level of visual flair in the first story arc there, because it was just explosive. You literally had lasers and ninjas, and just, it felt really good, and it showed so many different styles, which is one of my favorite parts of Kaguya-sama. No joke looks the same, and if it does, there's going to be a different gimmick to it, so it will feel distinct. Like, sometimes you'll have those dramatic Chika faces or Kaguya faces, and yeah, you can say, okay, that's a similar art style to what we've seen before, but by the time you get to the next one in that similar vein, you're going to see just another 20 different styles because the art and presentation just constantly shifts to match the joke at hand. And I think the idea of going out on birthdays, I thought, is actually really sweet, especially when you kind of, like, reflect on the whole fireworks situation and how, like, of course, someone like Kaguya knows his birthday. Like, she would never forget that, but of course, should she admit to that, I mean, that's gonna look like, oh, she remembers secret things about me that, why would you remember? We're just colleagues here. We're just the student council. Why would you remember my birthday, right? There's obviously reasons why she would keep it a secret, but I love how really for him, he just doesn't want the compatibility to read like their shit. And to have her be like, oh yeah, I guess I should just give up on it because, it's easy. He's a dumb kid in love. He thinks that's going to happen when really they are the most perfectly matched characters in the show. And if only they would say. But as I've always said, this is one of those shows that you're glad the joke gets dragged on because you don't want them to say I love you, at least not right now. You want to see this show go on for multiple seasons. And then when they say I love you, it'll be the perfect resolution because they're going to be perfect together. They're adorable. They're brainiacs. They're twisted. They literally are the ones for each other, but you have to love the ongoing joke. And I'm going to be interested to see how many, jokes are going to put in every single episode, because I expect 3. I think 3 will probably be still the staple of what they're going to use. But if they do 4 in a similar fashion as this, I think it'll be perfectly acceptable. Sure, it doesn't always function as smoothly as this, but honestly, 4 flew by and it felt like a singular episode. Obviously, there was different events, but it just felt like different events throughout the school day, which is why I love how you can literally kind of mix and match any and all jokes that this show has either skipped or just haven't got to yet, and you can make it function in a similar way. You just have to say, this was a year ago, or this is a year after that, blah, blah, blah. It's very easy to do, and I think this episode, it's going to bring a lot of smiles to a lot of people's faces, and I think we need that. I mean, it's crazy times we're living in right now, and I think we need a good show to make us laugh, make us just forget about the troubles in our life as the world collapses around us, and we're just like, can we just go back to normality? Probably not, but hey, as long as Kaguya-sama's here for a couple of weeks at the very least, I'm going to be a happy camper. Probably the thing most people are super curious about is, are we getting another version of the Chika dance or something like that? Are we gonna get a Kaguya dance, a U dance, right? That was still one of the best parts of season 1, just randomly seeing that beautifully rotoscope. Oh, that was great. And I'd be interested to see if they're just gonna randomly drop a similar thing that's just gonna take the community by storm, where people, whether you watch Kaguya or you don't watch Kaguya, people are going to be talking about it because it's going to look so good and it's going to be catchy. And generally, the catchiness, it can be like, oh, you're just hyping up a show because it has a good opening or a good ending. No, the reason people love Kaguya-sama and it's been one of the most anticipated both in and outside of Japan is because it's hilarious and people love the characters and its simplistic story. It really does hit all the right notes, so when we get spoiled with a beautiful opening or ending, that's just the icing on the cake. But it's good to hear these voice actors again. I think they're just so pleasant to listen to. They're so fun. They get into their role, whether they're being just super emo like you or really emotional like Chika. It just feels like everyone gets into the roles flawlessly, and I think I really hope it lasts the entire season. I wouldn't be surprised if it doesn't because of the whole corona, but I mean, this is a show that should it last the entire season, not get postponed. People are going to have a smile on their face at the very least once a week because Kaguya-sama does that without much struggle. I loved it. I think it was just as funny as some of the best content in season 1, and I've heard some good things about season 2, and it should be damn funny and emotional as well, probably towards the end of the season, similar to season 1, and that'll be a great finale for sure. But let me know your thoughts and opinions on Kaguya-sama Love is War season 2, episode 1 or 13, depending on how you're keeping track. Down in the comment section below, what was your favorite joke, and how excited are you for episode 2 next week? If you enjoyed the video, be sure to leave a like, share your support, and be sure to subscribe if you have been around here. So until next time, everyone, please take care and have a good one.